What's happening, man? You good?
I'm alright, mate. You?
No, I'm not bad. What you been doing this week?
Fuck all, mate. Fuck all, really.
Just chilling. After I made an absolute
I'm a
fucking
bit quiet
blunder.
now. Right?
After I made a big fucking blunder. Can't believe that, mate.
I
Honestly,
don't
I've been kicking myself for days. Everybody have been telling about it like you're an absolute fucking tit, man. Sat there and had the
I
full
know.
on
Can't believe it,
fucking
man.
conversation for an hour to then not even press record on my fucking mic. And I don't know how I didn't even fucking
Yes.
click either. Like when we were saying,
I know. I don't know how I
but
never realised it. I mean,
fuck, mate. Honestly,
it's so obvious.
but I just keeping yourself to yourself.
I know. I've not much happening this week. I've got a stag do next week.
Right. Okay.
Until then, I've not really got much on. So,
Right. Where's that at?
fucking tin of brew. The old places.
Where?
I don't know.
Where the fuck is that? Like a small town in the middle of bumfuck
It's,
nowhere.
it's a bit in the west coast somewhere. So, you know where Dunoon is?
Aye, way up
It's
that
a wee
way.
sort of past there, I think.
Right, okay,
Alright.
sound. Mate, weather's been shite the last couple of days. I got fucking proper caught out in
Aye, I
front of
know.
dog yesterday. Like, ended up coming
It's
like
been
as
really
we're just
bad, huh?
washing on the line, absolutely shagged and everything. I've got to fucking rewash all of that. I was like, bastard, mate. But yeah, anyway, welcome to the Rambling Dad podcast. I'm joined today by my mate Lewis Turner, and just absolutely doxed him again. You know what I mean? He hates it. At
Jesus, man.
Sheepo209 people, if you want to find him, you know what I mean? And I can tell you exactly where he lives, right down to his door colour and everything if you want it. You know what I mean? But yeah, mate, right. So let's get stuck back into it. I know I fucked it up the other day, and I can only apologise. But you were recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and how's it been going? How's it been feeling?
Uh,
Well,
Brilliant, mate.
not how's it been feeling. How are you feeling? You know what I mean? Like that's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
Um, Aye. Well, it's been a couple of years now, but not much has really changed, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a far worse shape at that time, obviously. We can get into that in a wee bit, maybe. But not much has really changed since then, mate. Every day's still hard to predict, hard
Mm.
to sort of navigate as well. Um, I feel not too bad today, though, so that's something. I
You
feel
just got
better today than I did, what was it, Monday or Tuesday we did this? I feel better
right.
now than I did then. So.
Oh, really? Right. Okay. We just was it like low energy or whatever when you wake up? You just need to kind of play it by ear.
Aye, sort of. I just need to sort of see how it goes, mate. It's sort of an hour at a time almost.
Right. Okay. Fucking hell, man. That's pretty heavy, isn't it? Kind of planning your day
Yeah,
an
it's
hour
annoying.
ahead.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, um,
I don't know.
so you found out a couple of years ago, and obviously we knew each other before that, worked together and stuff. And as I mentioned the other
Yep.
day, like there was times there where there was probably signs of it, and we never noticed it. Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize that's what was
Yeah.
going on with you, man. You know what I mean? So probably been there for
I
quite a
know. How
while,
would you
but
know that? You know what I mean? So.
no, you wouldn't. You know, exactly. You know what I mean? But at the same time, now that I'm aware of it, and when I think back to it, I'm like, yeah, well, that, yeah, I mean, that kind of does actually show with sometimes,
Yeah,
like
well,
say, low mood and like obviously sleeping in for work or whatever it was at the time. You're thinking it's just a young lad that's drinking all the time, sleeping in, but yeah, I mean, it could have been anything due to this. Or you could have just been sleeping in
aye,
like a
exactly.
dickhead because you were on it all the time, but that could have been the
I don't
point, you
know.
know.
I don't know. I think it was a lot of that, to be honest, mate. But I know. Well, I can think back even further than that. Obviously, to when I was like
Uh-huh.
16, 17, and think, oh fuck. Things I didn't really took notice of at the time
Mm-hmm.
because I'm so tall. I think because I was growing so much up until I was fucking whatever you stopped growing, like 18 or whatever. I always
Yeah,
just put it down to that. Just been
and
tired because I was
growing
growing all the
pains
time.
and
But
whatever else. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
aye, shit like that, mate. But nah, I don't think so.
Right. So, like, what morning was it, or when was it out? Was it over a course of a couple of weeks that you realised that something wasn't right? Yeah, I mean, that you thought, right, I need to go and get this seen.
Aye, but it was during COVID. It was during lockdown, and it was August. So it was when the first lockdown was just starting to ease off, and things were starting to opening again. You still had social distancing and masking and all that, but like things were starting to open up a wee bit. And me and my girlfriend had a drink on a Friday night, and we were going to go out for breakfast on the Saturday, just because we hadn't done that for about 6 months or whatever.
Aye.
But I woke up, I felt fucking terrible, man. We'd only drank like a bottle of wine or something, so this doesn't really make sense. And then I tried to get out of the bed, and my legs were all numb and shit. I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Uh, as we started getting up and that, and got my blood pumping and whatever, it got a wee bit better, but it was still there. So I phoned the doctors on Monday, and they obviously during COVID, it was hard to even get a phone call with a doctor. But
Yeah.
they were like, it's probably trapped nerves, which doesn't make sense. But
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about that either. I'd never heard of trapped nerves before, so I was just like, okay, should go away in a couple of weeks.
So what kind of
Uh,
feelings and stuff were you getting to think that it like? Obviously, you said
it was
you
from
woke up, you weren't
basically
feeling too great, but
I just felt fucking awful. I'd never felt like that before, and it was like I felt alright in my mind. I knew I wasn't hungover or nothing, but it was like
Mhm.
my body was just fucked.
Like weak.
I just I weak and sort of heady and just not right. And then the leg thing was always, it was like really intense, pins and needles. It sort of eased off a wee bit during the day, but then it would always come back stronger at night. Maybe if I'd been like watching football or whatever, not doing anything, that would bring it on again, stuff like that. So that went on for a couple of weeks, and I phoned the doctors again, and they said it can take a while to go away. And they told me about like certain, if it's getting sore, shit like deep heat and deep freeze and all that,
Right.
the mud cream and all that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
So I started doing that, and that would help with like the pain and stuff like that because I would get quite sore at night.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the UFC one night. I can't remember who it was, but I remember it felt like my legs were on fucking fire. It was a horrible, like tight burning pain.
Right. Okay.
Uh, it was horrible. So I phoned them up again. Uh, it's maybe a week after that or something. And they said, right, if you're still at this on Friday, I think this was like a Tuesday or Monday or whatever, they said, if you're still at this on Friday, phone us back and you can come and we'll take some blood. And I was like, well, that's something, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Fine.
Getting somewhere at least. Why not?
So, at least getting into the doctors, you know what I mean? It's a step.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was lying in my bed on Thursday and it was quite bad that night. And I was thinking, right, 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm just going to phone up. You know what I mean? No
Yeah.
matter if it's even just, if it's really bad or if it's eased off a wee bit, I'm still
Mm-hmm.
just going to phone up first thing in the morning. Finally got to sleep at 1 o'clock or whatever. Woke up and it was fucking sound. It was all gone when I woke up.
Fucking
Just that morning, you know what I mean?
sod's law in it. Yeah, I mean, every time
I
you
can't make that
phone
up,
the
you know what I mean?
doctors, I know, phone the doctors. Oh, I'm dying here. I need to get seen, and then they're like, "Yeah, come in this day," and you wake up like that, and you're like, "I'm fucking sound now." But
Exactly, aye.
obviously not sound yet. I mean, just one of the days where it was a little bit less symptoms, like so symptomatic. So,
Yeah.
but go on,
No,
carry
but
on.
it totally disappeared. It totally disappeared for fucking about 6 months or something.
Oh shit! Right, okay.
Uh, and I was sounding, I had no further. I think it was sound all through winter and all that, which is weird because it's sort of temperatures like extreme cold or heat can like sort of
Yeah.
trigger it and bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sound all through winter because I mind there's quite a lot of snow that winter. It was freezing, but I was sound all through it, which doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to me. But anyway, I was all right
Was
until
that
about
the Beast for
April.
the East? Was that? Yeah. Was that?
No, no, no. This was
When was that?
It wasn't quite as bad. There was quite a lot of snow. Like I was
Uh
trying to
huh.
go to work. I was working in Edinburgh, and had to turn back a couple of mornings by the time I got to like Falkirk because the
Holy
snow
shit.
was fucking like,
Uh
going high.
huh.
You know what I mean?
Train couldn't go. Oh, were you in the van?
No. Um, so I was all right until about Easter, I think, and then I was at work one day and I was doing something and I was like squatting. I can't remember exactly what I was doing, but when I stood up after about an hour of squatting, stood up and the leg thing had come back.
Right.
I'm thinking, oh Jesus, what the fuck's this now? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Hopefully it'll just go away again because it wasn't quite as bad as it was before. It was more just annoying. Um, and then when I stood up, something fell out my pocket. And I was on top of this big scaffold. It was something like a 30-foot scaffold or something. It was like 5 fucking levels. And something fell out, something small, like a key or a washer or something really
Uh huh.
small.
Mm-hmm.
And on the ground, it was all gravel. So I was like, oh, fuck, I need to go and search for this fucking tiny wee thing and all this gravel. It's the
Oh
exact
mate.
same size as it, you
Uh
know what I
huh.
mean? And so because I'm quite tall, I need to I need to put my head down a wee bit. Then I was walking round with my head basically like that at that angle. Then I walked into the scaffolding and it's sort of I heard my neck crack and it sort of shoved my shoulders up and I like had to
Shot
sit
the
down and
knee.
all that. It was quite sore and all that, you know what I mean? So I was like, that's not good. And then I think it was about a week later, the tingling had like spread up to my bottom rib and then
Mm.
like into my shoulders and shit. Like the only part of me that wasn't tingling was my head and my chest.
Yeah. Were you telling anybody
Uh,
about this or that were around you when you banged your head and when you were having those feelings? Were you speaking to anybody about
uh,
it?
I mean, I don't think so, mate. No, I think it was when it started affecting my arms and shit, and it started getting worse on my legs and
Mm-hmm.
it affected my back and stuff. It's because obviously you can see when somebody's back's sore because the way they walk and the way they move and the way they
Yeah.
lift shit, whatever. And a couple of people asked me, and this guy asked, I'd never spoke to him before. He was like the sort of cunt. He looked a bit like Tony Ferguson.
Right.
He was like
Okay.
skinny and like some kin and that. And he used to wear like the wee tiny wee sunglasses he wears.
Uh-huh.
He used to wear them, and he was like, "Come here,
Catching
come
flying elbows at the scaffolding during his lunch break, like.
here." Aye, aye. And he was like, "Come here, come here." He was like, "What's the matter with you?" I was telling him that, but I'd been with him for about a month and I'd never really spoke to him.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Hey, you should go to this clinic." Yeah, I had to go there for like a mad deep tissue massage and that. I was like, "What happened to you?" And he was like, "Oh, I was shagging my bud one night, mate, and I had this pain in my back, but you know that way, I just wouldn't stop. I just wouldn't stop." I was like, it's like, right,
Okay.
yeah, we tell me it's for. And he was going, go to this, my place. Uddingston, somewhere it's like Glasgow, I can't mean.
Right.
It's like a professional, like sports massage place or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, right, no, maybe. And then I googled it and all that. And it turns out it is quite good. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go there. Because I was having to start taking time off work at this point because my hands were all fucked and
Yeah.
I work with my hands, so I had to do something about it. And so I go for this stupid massage, and woman takes me into the wee room and she's asking me questions. She's got this wee clipboard and she's asking me questions, and I'm telling her about fucking the legs last year, and then it went away, and she's like, right. And then it was like, it came back, and then I hurt my neck, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's made it worse. And she's sort of looking at me like, right, okay. And then the more things I'm telling her, the more I can see she's sort of like, and I was
Mm-hmm.
going, she goes, right,
It's
I'll
like
just need to
it's
run
like
this by.
a health questionnaire that they do in it just to make sure like they run
I
through
was for
everything
like
with you.
insurance and all that, and I
Right.
was like,
Okay.
you understand it, obviously, fair enough, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And she came back in, she was like, we can't touch you, like for insurance, you need to get diagnosed, you need to find out what this is
Uh-huh.
before we can do anything, just
Mustn't have
to
sound
save us getting
muscular to
sued.
them or anything, so they were just like, nah, we're not going
Aye.
anywhere near it. Yeah.
Well,
Right.
even if it was like, they still don't know exactly, so they could do something and it could make it worse,
Right.
and it's
Mm-hmm.
not their fault, really, you know what I mean? So I was pissed off at that. And then it was about a week after that, I think it was Good Friday. And I didn't realise it was Good Friday until I tried to phone the doctors because I was at work and it was getting really bad. I was getting
Right.
sore and everything, and my arms
Uh-huh.
and everything. I was like, oh, fuck, I need to phone the doctors. So I phoned them about 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever, not realising it was Good Friday, also a bank holiday, and the doctors were shut.
Yeah.
I was going, what the fuck am I going to do? Because I can't be asked for another like, weekend of this fucking pain and all that if it's spreading, you know what I mean?
Were you taking it? Or were you just taking like ibuprofen, a paracetamol out, or
I was just, I got this thing, it's called Voltarol. It's like ibuprofen cream.
right? Okay.
It's sort of like a numbing cream, basically. So I was doing
Mm-hmm.
that, but it's a nightmare when I'm working construction. I need to go into the toilet and take all my fucking gear off and fucking sitting
Oh
slabbering on
Jesus
myself, you know what I
Christ,
mean?
man. Yeah.
Nah, it's been an arse, man. Um, so on the way home from work that day, I was like, you know what? Drop me at the old hospital in Stirling. I'll see if there's anybody there. Just happens to be there that might know anything.
Oh, the A
So it's a
and E,
minor
well, not
injuries,
A
but
and E, minor injuries. That's what I was going to
minor
say.
injuries, aye. But I go there and there's like a bunch of kids in the waiting room that have like fell at school or fell off their bike or whatever.
Ah,
I'm sitting there with my fucking hard hat and all.
uh-huh.
So I don't know what's wrong with me.
Fitting right in, I
And
suppose.
me?
Fitting right in, I suppose.
Aye.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So they were like, like, what are you doing here? Like, we can't help you. I mean,
Uh-huh.
phone the NHS 24, whatever. And I didn't want to do that because I'm sure I had plans that night. I'm sure I was meant to do something that night. Uh, I was, alright, fuck it. So I
Do
went
you know?
home,
Do you know
went back to my
that's
mum's.
mad that they've said they can't do anything for you? Because when Hillary was pregnant, she had like a trapped nerve in her back and a neck or shoulder or something. We ended up being in A&E for about 17 hours, mate. It was fucking brutal. But
Oh,
they sent her to minor injuries first before we even went anywhere because obviously we spoke on the phone saying, look, she's pregnant, got this trapped nerve. She was in like fucking complete pain, couldn't straighten her back out or anything like that. Was struggling to sit down on chairs. It must have been pinched and trapped. But yeah, they sent us to the minor injuries first before they told us to go along to A&E. Not that the doctor at minor injuries was any good, man. She was standing there and like she just walked off a farm, like she was in some scruffy ass clothes. She stunk of horse shit and she had these dirty, horrible boots on. I was like, where the fuck have you just come from? You know what I mean? But she looked fuming that she'd been called out at that time of night as well. To be fair, so that was weird. So they just told you now we can't do it for you. But so where did you go? What did you do after that?
I went back to my mum's and sitting on the phone because I think it was fucking 4:30, 5 o'clock Friday night by this point.
Uh-huh.
Then I had plans, so I was just wanting to get it over with. So I was sitting on the phone and I ended up being on the phone for like an hour and a half with that NHS thing. Uh,
Hope you froze that.
Good night, you know what I mean? Because they ask you like two, three questions and then you answer them, and then they're like, "All right, okay, wait 2 minutes." Then you wait like 5 minutes, and then she'll come back. Obviously, take that into a computer or whatever, and then ask you more questions and more, and then this keeps going for about an hour. And then she eventually said, "Right, go to your local, like your nearest A&E, whatever that is." And I was like, "Ah, fuck's sake!" Friday night, bank holiday, and
Uh-huh.
oh, fucking hospital in Falkirk.
All the
Fuck
boys are
that.
out and you're meant to be joining them, and then you've had to go to the fucking hospital, mate. Brutal.
I know. It fucking like, there was going on that had been stabbed. There was a mad lassie that was wanting to kill herself. That had like a
Oh,
police escort. She was like handcuffed onto them and that. You know what I mean? It was fucking all sorts of
Jesus,
shit going
mate.
on.
Just a normal Friday
So
night
I
then,
go
yeah.
to exactly, mate. Then I'm sitting in A&E and I was sitting fucking reading all the mad shit that's on the walls. And there was a lot of COVID stuff in that.
Yeah.
But the one that I was sitting under was like early signs of Parkinson's, early signs of fucking, muscular
Dementia or
dystrophy and
whatever.
all this
Yeah.
shit. I was
Uh-huh.
like, who the fuck's put this here? I mean,
Uh-huh.
and then there was another one like multiple sclerosis, and I was like halfway reading through it, and I was like, oh, fuck that, I'm not going to fill my head up with all this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, but if I just read it, I could have saved myself about fucking 3 weeks. Hassle.
You could have just walked in and go,
So,
I've got that on the wall there, that one 15.99
yeah,
off.
just
That's
unpin
it,
it,
I'll
just take
take
up to
that one.
reception, be like, here, I think I've got this.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so anyway, I eventually get taken through to the whatever the fuck you call it, A&E.
Yeah.
And the doctor comes through and I'm telling him about the neck shit and all that, the legs and everything, and he's sort of, doing the thing the doctors do, but they don't really talk much. He's sort of,
Uh,
you know, humming and hawing and that. And he was like, right, I've got to send you for I think it's called a CT scan,
okay.
just like an x-ray basically,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
neck. And so I fucking get wheeled round there. I'm sitting in the wee gown and that. Just fucking had a big argument with the mad porter guy because I didn't want to go in the chair. And I was like, I can just walk with you. And he was like, well, it's my job, mate. I need to do it.
You're
You have to go in the chair.
sitting there in the gownie and getting pushed around in the chair like you've been in the hospital for about 5 years or something, mate. Fuck.
I know, fucking, just somebody saw me all that, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there fucking slavering and that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then, so I get the CT scan, wait another hour. It's about fucking, I think it's about 1 o'clock in the morning at this time. And I've been awake since like 5 to go to work.
Right,
And
okay.
I've missed a night out. I've had like 8.
Yeah.
I'm shattered, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to go home.
Crab it as fuck. Can't be asked.
Aye, you can imagine, aye.
Yeah.
And so the doctor comes through and he was like, aye, there's no sign of any like muscle damage or bone damage or, tendon damage, whatever in your neck. And I was like, right, so what now then? And he says, right, we're going to put you for an MRI scan. And I was like, I'm not a doctor on that, but will that not take like 6 months to get me one of them?
Uh-huh.
And he was like, well, usually it would take a while, but we're going to fast track you. And when he said that, I should have thought, oh, fuck, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But because I'd been awake for so long, I just wanted to go home. I was like, aye, sound, right,
Right.
fine. You
Go,
know what I mean? You know where to find me, just let
gives
me
me
know.
appointment and let me bounce.
Exactly, mate. I'll just let me go home.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I go home, and then symptoms are getting worse all the time. Like my back's getting really bad now. About 2/3 of the way down my back was getting really sore, and my legs were getting a lot stiffer, stuff like that. And my hands were like starting to like not. I know I showed you last time. I'll show you again. Like my
I struggled
takes
squeezing
ages
them
for me to
together.
put my pinkies
Like,
in.
like I said the other day, you can see that like, it's shaking for you to like put the effort into
Aye,
getting it there. You know what I mean? Fucking
pure
wild,
nerve
like.
damage, mate. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
fucking it's really bad. Like I couldn't even like going to when I went to that massage place. I was struggling to like fucking right. I had to like hold it like that, basically.
You can
Like a 5-year-old. You know what
screw a hole line, just stab it
I
into it.
mean?
Fuck's sake, man.
And so that was getting worse all the time. And then I had a lot of stuff going on as well at that time, and I was really stressed out. So I mean, it was the end of the financial year, and I was self-employed, so I was trying to get a tax rebate that I
Right.
ended up
Okay.
not getting.
Uh-huh.
So the whole fucking thing. I was trying to book the Euros was happening that summer,
Right.
and I was meant to go to that. I was getting like tickets for the games, and we were going down to London, so I was getting train tickets for that, and then trying to like book digs and all that down there. So I had
Yeah.
loads of shit going on, and then went for the MRI result. Sorry, for the MRI scan. Fucking horrible the things, by the way. I hate having MRI scans.
Is that the big
I did get
dirty
one a year
machine?
now.
You go fucking, you're lying in it, you
It's
can't move,
horrible
and
stuff.
right.
That is dark and it's loud as fuck. It's like a
Yeah.
fucking. You're on like a lorry reverses and that horrible. That's right in
Beep
your fucking
beep.
ears
Right. Okay.
for an hour. You know what I mean?
Fuck.
It's
So
fucking
what
horrible.
part of you were the just all over MRI, or did they look like so like target a
They did
specific area?
head, I did head, upper spine and lower spine.
Right. Okay.
And I thought, I was just all right, that must just be standard. Because I don't, I worked in construction. I'm the furthest thing for a doctor, or that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, which is all right, fine. But they obviously knew, they had a good idea what they were looking for. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Um, so I do the scan, and then I come home, and then I mind on the scan was during the week. I think it was like a Thursday or a Friday maybe. And then on the Sunday night, I went for a bath, and then at the end of the bath, I couldn't get out of the bath.
Jesus.
Just my legs were just dead. I couldn't move them at all. I couldn't
Uh-huh.
bend my knee. I couldn't move my ankle. Couldn't move my toes. Couldn't do nothing.
Fuck's sake.
Uh, so I had to like pull myself fucking like over the bath and sort of just flop out.
Fucking hell.
And then uh, I managed to like roll onto a towel and then get another towel and like dry myself with it. And I managed to pull my t-shirt on, and then I had to put my boxers like on the floor, and then like lift my legs up like that and sit them in the holes, and then like pull them up.
And you just couldn't feel your legs or anything at all, just like completely fucking
Mate,
dead, like dead weighted.
they were just, it was like two logs, mate. It was couldn't move
Jesus
them at
Christ.
all.
Because you explained it the other
Yeah,
day,
it's
like
scary.
Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, didn't you? Like fucking crawling away from that
Aye,
bear
that's
in
how I
that
had to get a
epic
bit. I had to
fight.
crawl away. You know, it was not quite as cool as this, but
Aye,
uh,
we wouldn't make a 3 hour fucking feature length movie of it, like I don't think, but
well, you could have made a 3 hour movie. Me trying to get into my bed for through the bath. It
it
took me
fucking
fucking
took that
ages,
long,
mate.
guy.
So crawling through the desert. I eventually had to get a chair that just happened to have it. I had no idea why, but I was sitting in my bedroom and I managed to pull myself onto the chair and then sort of like rock the chair and like fall onto the bed and then roll over and just starfish. Uh, and then by that time I was all sweaty, so I was needing another bath. It took me about an hour and a half.
Fucking
And
hell.
then I was like, oh, fuck it, just go to sleep. Just go to sleep because I was that tired.
Uh-huh.
Just go to sleep. I think
Must
it
have
was
been
only like
some
fucking.
relief getting into the bed, but as soon as you managed to get
Oh,
up
I
there,
was
but then
eventually,
you're
aye.
like, thank fuck for that, man.
Aye. And just as I was going to sleep, I was like, looking forward to this. But just as I was falling asleep, I like opened my eyes and I was like, oh, fuck, something's seriously wrong here. This isn't good. And then, so the next morning, crawled out of bed and then down the stairs and sort of doing that thing where you like sit your way down the stairs
Mm-hmm.
and then crawl through to the living room.
Anybody in the house with you at this point?
Uh, this would have been a Monday. I think my mum was in. I can't really mind much about that morning though, but I
What
know
did
my
she
mum
say?
was in. Aye.
Were you just trying to keep it to yourself, not to worry her, and you know what I mean? Probably just
Well,
trying
no,
to.
I've been telling them about the fucking the tingling and all that sort of shit, but
Uh huh.
they don't know much about MS or that either, so
Yeah.
they didn't know. They were obviously like constantly being like, fucking phone the doctors, blah blah. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Tried constantly get me to chase it up and that.
We hadn't even been diagnosed with MS at that point, had you? So
No, exactly.
you're just like guessing there,
But
really.
hmm?
It would have just been guessing at that point, like obviously. But I'm meaning like when you were
Aye,
coming down
exactly,
the
mate. You know what
stairs
I
and you were
mean?
struggling to get down, was your mum coming around being like, "You're all right," and you're just like, "Aye," just grinning and bearing it and trying to get through it, like.
Aye, pretty much, mate. Aye, like
Yeah.
my mum was sort of because I've never been one to like Google symptoms. I've Googled symptoms for something once. I used to
That's
get
what I
nosebleeds
mean.
quite a lot when I was young,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's just I think I got hit in the face with a football in like the winter or something one year, and it sort of just something in my nose never really recovered.
Right. Okay.
And then when it's cold, I get quite a lot of nosebleeds, and I think it's just something that's been ruptured or so, I don't know.
Yeah.
But you start googling like nosebleed symptoms, it tells you fucking all sorts of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know,
So
mate. I know.
once I did that years ago, I was I'm never doing that again. Fuck that.
That's one of the
But
worst things
even
people do these days is self-diagnose on
oh
the
no,
fucking internet, mate. Like,
that's
my
fucking
missus is fucking terrible for it. It jumps on and she's got the worst symptoms of everything that's ever out there. You know what I mean? It's like, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that. I'm like, fuck me, man.
aye,
Stop reading that crap, like. So,
aye. But my mum had obviously been googling shit because she was asking me loads of questions like, "Is your eyes okay? How's your
yeah.
speech?" And I
Hmm.
was like, "I know, fucking everything's fine." But my speech did start to like slough quite badly
Yeah.
after the MRI just before I got diagnosed. And I can't mind how long it took, but it was at least a week for me to get the results. It might have been a bit more than that. So I go to get the MRI results, and I'm sitting in a wheelchair and all that. I'm sitting like when I got in Little Britain.
Andy, aye.
Yeah, I know.
How'd you get up there, Andy? I fell. He's
Well,
up the fucking tree. That's the best fucking one going. That sitting in the wheelchair and then he's up in the tree. How did you get up there? I fell. Fucking brilliant.
well, the one in the dive board when they were at the pool.
You're never gonna get TV
Uh,
shows like that again, are you, man? They just won't get away with any of that shit anymore. Like
for a
it's.
good reason, but you know what I mean.
Oh,
You can't
I
make
know,
shows
mate.
about
I
it.
know, mate. Fuck, it was funny though. For its time, it was fucking funny.
No, no, I loved it, man. I think I was about 8 or something when it was on. I thought it was funny as fuck.
I mind it coming out and watching the first episode on TV. You know what I mean, it was fucking same with South Park, mate. I remember watching the first ever South Park on the fucking sitting in my mum's bed
All right,
watching it on
aye,
the
aye, aye.
TV and top of the wardrobe. Like it's fucking mental,
Do
man.
you remember when Family Guy used to be on? I think it was on like Channel 5 or BBC One or something. It used to be on a
Aye,
Sunday morning, but they would
yeah.
edit out all the bad shit.
Aye, all the bad
You know what
shit.
I
Aye,
mean? Aye, so
fucking
it
hell,
was
man.
like 5-minute episodes basically.
But anyway, you felt like Andy out of Little Britain.
Aye, because I couldn't do nothing. I was just sitting there, sort of a wee bit depressed and that, you know. And the doctor was talking to me, and I was just being like, "Yeah, no, yeah, no." And then,
That's like that other character out of it, innit? Yeah, no, bothered. Whatever it was,
well,
seems
all
like you.
right.
It seems like you went through the cast of Little Britain there in one day, mate. Fucking hell.
Uh, what's her fucking name? Anyway, um, she was like, she was showing me my eye results, and she was like, "This is, not like I was a child." She was like, "And this is your head," and she zooms in a wee bit. "This is your brain." I was like, "Right, gonna just tell me what's right." You know what I mean? I just want to get out of here. And then she was like, "And this is your brain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a bit more, and we found some of this." And then all this fucking white shit starts appearing in my brain.
Hmm.
I was like, what the fuck's all that? And then she like minimises it, and she was like, "So your spine?" I was like, "No, never mind the spine. What the fuck was all that shit?" And then she was like, "Well, I need to show you this first." And I was like, "Well, it's better be fucking important. Whatever's going on in the spine, I better be more important than that."
Uh-huh.
And then she goes, "So your upper spine was fine." And I was like, "Right, so let's go back to the fucking brain." And then she was like, "Well, no, I need to show you this first. I need to show you your lower spine.
Hmm.
Because if you look at these two vertebrae, they're basically like rotted away. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like they look like two old gears that have been like part of a machine since like the 30s or whatever. They're just all rusty and wee bits are broken and all that. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? I was talking to you last week and you said like the rest of the normal ones you could see like the wee circle bit in the middle
Right, because
and all
obviously that's
that.
what I say. Some Nero's MRI when he got it,
Yeah,
because he's got
yeah,
the brain tumor on the stem of it. Like when you they said he
yeah,
had
man.
two dried up discs, and when you look through them, you could see little white dots in each of the healthy discs, and there
Mhm.
was two of them that was completely like black and darked out. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly, mate. Yeah. You can barely see an outline. They're just two little
uh huh,
fucking small little shadows, basically.
yeah.
Uh, and that's why my legs were so bad because they'd obviously affected my lower, whatever, how the nerves work. I don't know.
Did they say there was anything they could do
Um,
with that to fix it, or is it just something you need to live with, or is there surgery to put in? I don't
um,
know, fake discs or whatever. I don't know how the fuck it works. Yeah.
no, they've never mentioned like surgery or that for it because she told me I had multiple sclerosis, or that she was 90% sure, but she was going to speak to like the head neurologist the next day
Yeah.
just to get like a confirmation, basically.
Hmm.
And I was like, "What the fuck do you mean I've got MS? What the fuck? What do you mean? Like
Yeah.
I was 26 or something at that point. I was like, what are you talking about?"
Uh huh.
Because I didn't know anything about it. Like the only times I've ever heard of people having it would be like old women.
Yeah, yeah.
stuff like that. It's always
Uh-huh.
like,
But the
how
thing is,
can that?
those people could have been living with it for a longer time. I mean, you're only just finding out about it when they're at that age. Like they've probably
Aye,
had it, same as
aye,
you.
true.
Maybe better diagnosed. Well, maybe no as diagnosed as early as you, because it depends how far back the medicine and the advances go for when they would have found out about it. You know what I mean? But that's pretty
Aye.
rough.
Well, I
26
know
years
it was
old.
around
Yeah.
in the. I don't know how old it is, but Richard Pryor had it. I only found out this a couple of years. I know Richard Pryor. You know Richard Pryor,
Yeah,
obviously, the
yeah.
comedian.
Obviously, yeah.
Aye. I knew that he was like really ill towards the end of his career, but I always thought it was because like he set himself on fire, and I always thought he just had health complications because like he tried to kill himself and all that. But he
Yeah.
had MS. I didn't know that.
Jesus Christ, I never knew that either. Like.
He had it in the 80s when it was like obviously there was a lot of bad shit in the 80s, like health
Mm-hmm.
wise and that. But
Yeah.
MS back then was basically a death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he was cutting about in the chair and all that. See, I had no idea about that. I only found out that
Jeez, oh.
maybe 2 or 3 months ago.
No, okay.
Um, where was I before that?
You were telling me about your spine, lower spine. She started telling you about that, and then told you that you had MS.
Right. She told me I had MS, and I was like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, how much do you know about it? And I was like, well, probably not as much as you. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And she wasn't, she was, I don't know, she was European, so there's a wee bit of humour bypass.
I was gonna say
I mean,
100% believe that's what you came out with as well, because you're so dry and
I,
so short, man. You do, like
I,
that's your type of
like,
humor.
probably not
You
as
know what I
much as
mean? It's
you.
like,
And she sort of, she was facing the computer, she just turned around and she went, yes. And it looks the computer again. Right.
fuck.
Uh, she, she goes,
Yeah, yeah,
based on what you've told me, and like, oh, like obviously your symptoms started last year and disappeared, and they've come back.
yeah.
Uh, that sounds like you've got relapse and remitting MS. And I was like, what the fuck's that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And she says, well, again, I'd need to confirm with the head neurologist, but it sounds like you're going to have the type of MS where uh, it's not like progressive. You're not constantly like you will have MS every day,
Yeah.
but it's like your attacks will come and go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that's not quite as bad. Uh, but like, what's going to happen with like this wheelchair and that? And then
Yeah.
she says, well, we're going to give you these steroids, and obviously I've dealt with this like a lot because she's a neurologist, so she deals with MS a lot, obviously. And she
So
says
were
these
you
steroids
cutting
have got a
about
really
on the
high success rate.
were you cutting about no sorry were you cutting about in the wheelchair like full time at that point?
Well, no, because I didn't know where to get one.
Right.
Uh, so even to get to the hospital, like it was just because my dad was at work during the week. It was just my mum, and because I'm 6'3", and I was probably about 16, 17 stone at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so like, there's no my mum's 5'2", so there's no chance she was
No
getting me in the
chance she was
car. You know
picking
what I
you
mean?
up by. Mm-hmm.
Nah, exactly. So I had to get like the not the paramedics, but like the transport, the ambulance transport.
Paramedic transport, whatever it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
Whatever it is,
like private companies in it rather than actually funded for the NHS.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I never dealt with it. It was my mum that fucking phoned them and
Right.
told them
Okay.
to come and get me. And I was
I,
sitting there
I think
again
it's
like a
like
big idiot. No.
Saint John's basically is those kind of groups or organisations that
Is that what
effectively
that?
look
Oh, right,
after
okay.
things.
I've heard of that, to
Something
be
along
fair.
them lines.
Honestly,
That.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sorry, go on. So
But
she
anyway,
started talking to you about the steroids and saying these ones are pretty effective.
she says they've got like, a really high success rate. And when you take 5 every day, every morning for 5 days, and hopefully within a week, you'll be up walking again. And that was the main thing. I was like, everything else that she told me, I could sort of put that
Yeah.
a wee bit down the list. But my main priority was just getting out the fucking chair because
Aye.
I hated it,
Mm-hmm.
mate.
Yeah, yeah. Especially at 26, mate. It's quite like I mean,
Exactly.
debilitating, fucking degrading a little bit for you. I mean, you've got a little bit of pride,
All right,
ego
man.
still there in your 20s. You know what I mean? So
All right.
it's how do you get over all of this stuff
I
and
don't thought, and like I wasn't like a gym freak or that, but I was before I got ill and everything, I was like the healthiest I'd ever been. Because during lockdown and that, I just been doing nothing but working out and going runs and all that shit. Because I was actually training. I wanted to join the fire brigade, and I
all
was
right,
trying to get
okay.
myself like fit to like, apply for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that the one day as well now, probably.
Oh fuck,
But
aye.
uh,
There may be something you could do within it. Yeah, I mean, maybe a role somewhere there, but
receptionist or something.
the guy that
Uh,
waxes the pole for when they slide down
exactly.
it.
uh, So, and I worked in construction as well, as I said. So I was just,
Uh-huh.
it was a fucking nightmare being stuck in a chair because I was used to
Yeah.
always being up and about and doing something. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Uh, so anyway, started taking the steroids. Uh, started telling people that I had MS, which was probably the most difficult bit, was actually telling folk that I
Yeah.
just,
Opening
do you
up
listen to
about
this?
it.
Because I had to phone my girlfriend at the time because she was
Mm-hmm.
at work and she was like, fucking, like, let me know, but I was obviously worried and that. And I phoned her and like, she like started doing that thing that like she was crying. I could tell she was crying, but she was like not talking, but I
Yeah.
could like sort of hear it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I was like, ah, fucking, I hate doing this, man. You know what I mean?
It's no nice news to break
I
to
told my
people, is
brother
it?
when I went home. I went home and I told my brother. My brother goes, so what happened? I went, guess what I've got? And he goes, what? And I went, I've got MS. And he goes, do you want some like water or anything? That was what he said.
You didn't know what to
I was,
say, you know what I mean?
I
So
actually would like some water, aye.
aye, aye. Did you start using them as a little whipping bitch then, or what? You went right, go for this, go for that.
No, to be fair, he was like, you want like, you hungry, you want something for dinner? And I was like, nah, you're
Mm-hmm.
right. Because eating wasn't exactly on my mind, just been told that I've got MS, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I know, mate. Fuck.
uh, I'm going to start cancel. Fucking ended up not being able to go to London and all, obviously, for the Euros and fucking like the Scotland games. Was offered tickets for them. Hamden,
Yeah,
for them, you know, I'm self employed, so I've
yeah.
still got no money
Mm-hmm.
apart from like the savings I had. But obviously burnt through them quite quick.
Yeah,
Um, so it was not a good time, obviously. But started taking the steroids. And then the next morning, like I could sort of move my toes a wee bit. Then it's just sort of day by day, just started getting more sort of strength up my
mm-hmm.
leg. Sort of by the third day, kind of like swing my knees, like sitting in a chair and stuff like that. But I
Yeah,
just didn't quite have the power in my back to stand up. Uh, but then by the end of the thing, I woke up. I can't remember what day it was, Monday or Tuesday morning. And as soon as I was able to walk, I'd never had a bath or a shower for fucking 2 weeks or something. So I was just first thing I
rough,
did was just
mate.
go up and get a shower.
Uh-huh.
It was fucking fun. Uh, then I just sort of started taking it for there, figuring out what to do next, and obviously getting set up with like an MS nurse.
Yeah.
Uh,
Was there, just
Probably
before
go
we
back
get
to the
away from it,
hospital at
was
the time.
there any side effects from the steroids?
Uh, and would they give you like laxatives as well
Right, okay.
to take with the steroids because they really
So
block you up apparently.
dry you up a wee bit, but
Aye.
see, most of the time with steroids, you kind of need to like wean yourself off them. Did you have to like lower the dosage as you were gradually coming away from them, or was it just take the 5 a day and then
No,
stop?
it was a 5 day course, 5 a day, 25 tiny wee tablets, mate. That was it.
And then that was it,
And it was
right?
just
Okay.
purely for the inflammation because obviously that's what MS is. It's when your nerves get inflamed.
Uh huh.
Um, uh, so so then started getting set up with like all these neurology appointments, shit like that.
MS nurse, you got
It's a
that
really
as
busy
well.
time, you know what I mean?
Uh huh. Was it like
Uh,
multiple appointments a week, or were they kind of
it
spread
probably
out?
would have been for a little while, aye.
Mm-hmm.
It probably would have been. Because I mean, I had to, obviously, they sent a letter to my GP. So my GP phoned me and they were like, oh, we were really surprised to hear about MS. And I was like, well, I don't think you should be that fucking surprised, you know what I mean?
Considering I've been phoning you
But
for fucking weeks and months, man. You know what I mean?
exactly,
Telling you
mate,
about
aye.
all this shit. Mm-hmm.
But again, you know what I mean? It's just that's what it is. So, um, and then they're like, right, we're going to send you for, we need to find out what sort of treatment to put you on.
Yeah.
Uh, it's we need to find out. It says we need to find out what DMT to put you on. I was like, what?
What?
I was like, what are you talking about? And
This is gonna be
he was
fun.
like, aye, we need to find out. Aye, exactly. I was like, oh, it's been a while since I've done something like this, mate.
uh,
But disease modifying treatment. I was like, oh, right, that makes a
right,
lot more
okay, yeah,
sense.
that makes a lot more sense, doesn't it? Yeah. Fuck. Thought I was
Because
going
I
to
was
the
sitting there thinking, I was
universe
like,
there.
what's the
Like,
relation there? I just like,
uh-huh.
fucking convinced myself like I'm alright or something. I mean, uh, so they were like, right, we're going to send you for a spinal tap. And I was like, all right, I didn't know what that was. I was like, all right, okay.
Doesn't sound good though, does it?
And then
Spinal tap, bite.
No, I know, but I was just like, all right, well, this is how life's going to be. It might not be that nice, but fuck it.
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was, and I had no idea what to expect. And I swear to God, it pulls it off. I go there, and they lie me down on this wee like bed, like face the wall, and there was three nurses. There was like, a trainee nurse that didn't really speak English. That was trying to talk to me. And, like, you know me, I really don't like small talk and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was just trying to be nice to her because I didn't want to be rude or that. You know what I mean? And
That's
then
not
this
like
other
you.
nurse come in, and I swear, this other nurse came in, and I swear to God, man, she was gorgeous. So I was just like, everything she said, I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then this fucking finally, this third nurse came in. This third nurse came in. I swear to God, she was like a fucking big Russian dinner lady, this woman.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it was her that was fucking, she was like the experienced one. And she
Uh-huh.
was just like, right, let's just get this done. And I was like, right, okay. So the fucking, so like the trainee nurse is just watching. And then the nurse that I fancied was the one that was like talking to me. And she was sort of explaining, she was sort of just like the middle one between like the head nurse and
Yeah, yeah.
the new nurse. The main nurse wasn't saying a fucking word to me. She just kept turning around to them and being like, no, I've missed that again. I swear to God, mate, it was like a 2 litre bottle of juice, this fucking like needle with like a
Jesus
fucking like
Christ.
a 10-inch fucking like needle coming at it.
Oh, you bastard,
And
man.
every time I went in, I could feel it. Like I don't know what it was meant to feel like, but I knew it wasn't meant to feel like this.
I've got a shiver in my spine just thinking about it. Like,
It was horrible, man. But because I'm like facing the wall, I'm just sitting there like I'm wincing and shit like that, and I'm fucking
uh-huh.
like, I'm biting my hand and all that.
And then this was at
It's
the base
because
of your spine or located like towards where they'd said about the discs and things?
I think it was. I don't think it was the base. No, I'm sure it was a wee bit further up because I still get a wee, just a sort of mild wee pain every now and again there. See if I do
Right,
something
okay.
like quick, see if I turn round too quick or whatever, I still get like a
Uh-huh.
slight pain. So I think they did sort of nick something on the way because it took them 5 attempts. So I don't know what's wrong with my spine that
Right,
they
okay.
couldn't find it. But so I got that, and at one point they were like, "Ah, we need to send them to the big place in Glasgow that do this." And I
Because
was
they
like,
could,
"Ah,
because
fuck,
they couldn't
really?"
get it.
Nah, because they couldn't do it. And I mean, at one point, I think it was like the third attempt or something. I could feel it like pulling the plunger on it,
Mhm.
pulling it out, and I was like, "Right, is that it? Tell me that's it." She was like, "Nah, that's just blood.
Oh, fuck.
You want to put
How,
it back?"
I know. How much blood did they pull out? Like,
I don't know, but it was I could like
you
feel it
feel it for
extracting.
a while. Mm-hmm.
I could feel it sort of leaving my body, and I was because I knew something. Obviously, you can't hear them pulling the plunger, but I knew they were
Uh-huh.
doing it. Just like it was a
Yeah.
weird sensation. Yeah, it's just blood. Got to get it back.
So, what was it that they were trying to get out that wasn't blood?
It's so they put it into your spine, and it's your brain fluid.
Right, okay.
That I think that's the only way you can get it is through your spine, which is a
Right.
fucking nightmare.
Aye, aye. Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's like a lobotomy for your back. It's fucking horrible, man.
Jesus Christ, man.
And then for it took about an hour to actually get it out, but then like for 3 or 4 days after, it was fucking horrible, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was warm. It was dead hot that summer, and I got the train back. And when I was on the train, they were like, "You can hang around for as long as you want until you feel better, because like the next few days you will have like a bit of a sore head, you'll be dehydrated, all this sort of
Yeah.
shit. Drink as much water as you can before you leave." But I just wanted to leave. I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. I mean, so I was just like,
Naturally.
right, fuck
Mm-hmm.
this. Um, so I had like two of the wee cups of water that they give you, the wee paper ones. And I had like two of them, and then got to the train station, and on the train back, I was actually lying down on like the table because you see the pressure in my head because they take all the fluid out your skull,
Uh-huh.
so your brain's like sitting on your skull.
Right,
You
okay.
know what I mean? Fucking horrible, man.
Sounds weird,
And that
that.
went on for about a week. I couldn't even sit up for about a week. I had to lie down.
Just get dizzy and
Uh,
headaches and fucking everything.
I pain, just pain,
Uh-huh.
and I dizzy in that as well. Just not feeling like my body, like the equilibrium, whatever, was just
Yeah, yeah,
off.
yeah. Just weren't stable or out yet.
How was Nero after his? Was he all right?
He was a bit wonky, man. Yeah, I mean, but he was he had the MRI on one day, and then I think I might have told you they say he's already sound, and then we got there within the hour,
Yeah,
and they told us he's fucking not sound, and he's gonna need to come back for a spinal tap the next day. On top of old dog shouldn't really go under anaesthetic in the first place too much. Yeah, I mean they're gonna put him under again the next day. So yeah, he was a bit wonky for the couple of days after it. Yeah, I mean, but he didn't really have a. I think they say it's different for dogs as well. They don't get headaches, and that kind of stuff doesn't happen to them because the way
Oh,
it is
okay.
for a human, because we're vertical. You know what I mean, we're up the way, so all gravity and
Oh,
everything like
yeah.
that's pulling it down. So that's what's causing it for a
Whereas
dog.
they're
They're
yeah,
sideways,
yeah,
mate. So none of it like it's meant to be completely different for a dog than what it is. So it's probably just the anaesthetic that made him feel a bit funky. But yeah, I mean he's a daft bastard, man. So not much changed out of him like behaviour wise. So
yeah.
met my pal's puppy yesterday, and considering he was given 2 to 4 months
Oh,
after
no,
live, mate.
absolutely.
I don't know if you've seen it on my Snapchat, man, but bouncing
Did
around the
I?
garden with him, took them out for the walk. They were running around together, going out swimming in the little river that's near me, and that. You know what I mean? So apparently he's got about a month left in him. He's still fucking kicking about sound. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, they
doesn't
will though, you know what I mean? The dogs are like
no.
that, you know what I mean? They're hard as fuck, you know what I mean? They
Aye.
don't show anything. So
Especially staffies, mate. Yeah, I mean, stubborn little bastards as well, like so.
aye, mate, aye, 100%, man. Uh,
Um, so they started moving
so
towards like your treatment plan and things like that after.
yeah, so they were like so the reason they check your brain fluid is to check for a thing I think it's called PML, or it's like a certain body antibody or whatever that leads
Right.
to
Okay.
a thing called PML, which is like a really horrible like brain disease that I get a treatment called Tisabri. That's the other name for it. It's got like a proper name, you know, like the medical names. It's about that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck knows what it is. But it's Tisabri, and you get it every. I started on it every 4 weeks. I now get it every 6 weeks.
Right. Okay.
I'm not really sure why, but it's just the way it is. After a year,
You probably
so
it probably needs to
but
build up like a certain level of it in your body at the start, and then
I think
once you're
so.
there,
Aye,
you
but
can get spaced out a little bit
then
more,
you
isn't
need
it?
to keep it at a certain level, so you need
Aye.
to get it less often or whatever. Aye. So, but to Sabri, it's brilliant. I love it. I don't get any negative side effects with it at all.
Uh huh.
But it can lead to this PML thing, whatever it is,
Right.
and it's like
Okay.
a brain disease.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound that good.
Nah, it doesn't sound. As soon as you say
So,
brain and disease, yeah, I mean, it's like, nah, I don't want to go anywhere
exactly.
near
I
that.
mean, it's no two words that really
So
go together.
I
You
take
know
it,
what I
did
mean?
he take your blood and stuff after an MRI to see the levels yet that's in there to make sure that you're still staying clear of.
They will take my blood constantly. They will take
Right.
my blood constantly. I can't remember the first time I took it, but it was maybe before I was even diagnosed. They will take my blood.
Right. Okay.
Um, because I went to A&E one night. Just it was in between the scan and when I got diagnosed, because I was in so much fucking pain. Like
Yeah.
I felt like the inside of my body was on fire.
Right.
It was fucking horrible.
Okay.
I had to go to A&E at something like 4 in the morning or something like
Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
that. And then eventually got home. I was surprised how quiet it was because I think it was like 4 o'clock on a Sunday morning or something. I got there and there was hardly anybody there.
You think it would have been heaving, eh?
Nah, like Saturday night, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I got a wee bit lucky and I got home about maybe 8 o'clock the next morning, something like
Mm-hmm.
that. I remember that was the first time that I think they took blood because they were like, I can't remember what they said, but I remember them taking blood that time. Uh, so now I get to Sabri, which is I got the day medicine bit at what's it called, Fort Valley,
Right.
and it's good. It's good. I get an infusion. I sit in this like room, be like other folk getting all sorts of stuff. There's folk in the room getting like blood transfusions, or
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy a few months ago who was there, quite a young guy. Uh, Folk are dead nosy in hospitals. You know what I mean? Folk are like
Everybody wants to
always
know
want to
what's
know what's
going
wrong
on
with
with
you.
you.
You know,
Aye. Uh-huh. Especially with something like
I was,
MS where they can't physically see anything wrong with you. You know what I mean, it's one of those
aye,
hidden
exactly.
things.
Aye,
Like so, everyone's kind of get like you say, he gets nosy and goes, "What's the crack? Then what's up with you?"
aye.
I mean, what are you doing in here? You're a young lad. You don't know what you should be here.
Well, he was younger than me. I think he was 21 or something.
Jesus
And it was
Christ.
like
What was up with him?
uh, Crohn's.
I see.
Crohn's.
Well, I knew you'd have asked, you nosy bastard. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
yeah.
fucking, he asked me. You know what I mean? So there's all sorts of folk. So it's quite interesting. You know what I mean? Folk getting like all sorts of shit, man. There's like a mad Dutch woman that's in there. She's dead rude to the nurses and that, but she's really nice to me.
Uh-huh.
But she'll still not tell me what's wrong with her. So I
Is
don't
that
know. I don't know what's
is
going
that
on there.
somebody in there that's getting one IV drip or whatever as well, blood transfusion or
Aye,
something? Yeah.
she's getting
Right.
some
Okay.
sort of
Uh-huh.
infusion or whatever.
Right.
Uh, it's class. Like the nurses are really good because I go every 6 Wednesdays, so it's
Uh-huh.
usually the same
Oh.
nurses that see her. I actually really enjoy going for my treatment. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Go at lunchtime, I get a wee fucking sandwich and a wee bowl of soup and that, you know what I
Ah,
mean? It's alright,
decent.
like.
Uh-huh. How'd you get up there?
Um, um, somebody usually offers me a lift,
Yeah.
and I'll just be like, alright. Um, but, sometimes I'll get the bus,
Mm-hmm.
and it just takes me right there. I don't mind doing that, you know what I mean? That's
How,
fine.
how, how'd you find getting up to the bus?
Um, well, the only real sort of negative side effect is getting to Sabri. I think it's like sort of charging a battery. Like, see, when I get it, it sort of puts me at like 100%, and I feel amazing. I'm like,
Yeah.
Captain America comes out the mad machine after he's had his
Hi,
wee
super
injection thing.
serum, mate.
Aye, that's like me, mate. I feel fucking great. It's just like
Uh-huh.
get out and start running.
I start sprinting towards.
Um,
No, fuck the bus. I'm
yeah,
running home, mate.
aye. Um, but then, so I feel great for like 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks after that, I'll sort of start to fade a wee bit, and then the
Uh-huh.
last sort of, depending on how I manage it, how I manage my energy and all that, I'm usually all right until the last like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Uh, but sometimes if I do too much early on, uh, it'll be like the last 2 weeks or something. I feel really shite
Mm-hmm.
until I need to go back. Uh, just lost what I was saying there. Why the fuck did I tell you that?
You
What
because
was I wrong with that?
because I asked you, mate. I asked you what how you getting there and how you getting back and stuff, and how you were finding it. Like you getting because obviously you
Oh,
said
right, aye.
the weather affected you and stuff.
Oh,
Did
aye,
it?
but the bus, aye, the bus, I
Aye.
remember, mate.
Uh-huh.
See, that's another symptom is my
Memory.
cognitive issues I get is
Yeah.
my short-term memory is really bad sometimes,
Uh-huh.
mate. Like sometimes I phone somebody, like I phone the doctors or whatever, and as soon as they answer, I'm like,
What the phone you for?
what is that? Why did I phone me? Shit like that.
Mad.
Well, like I'll order food and it'll turn up and I'm like,
I never ordered this.
what the fuck did I do
I've got
this?
food in the oven, mate.
That's it. um,
But
see, I'm just thinking again, I forgot where we were again.
again, so just saying about what it's like for you to get to travel there and things, how you were getting there. So you said some people were getting you a lift,
All
sometimes you
right,
get on the
I
bus.
will.
You felt like Captain America is soldier, super soldier serum in you when you get out of there. Like,
Aye, but the thing is, me because my nervous system's been damaged, I can't have caffeine anymore because it just
okay,
makes me feel fucking hot. My body just rejects it basically and starts sweating and it's like I can't breathe and shit. It's fucking
like
horrible.
straight away for the get go, like first few swigs, and you just start getting that like.
Aye, which is annoying because I like when we were working together, I never used to drink coffee or tea or that. I fucking hated it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But during I think it was during COVID, I started drinking coffee and I loved it. I got
Yeah.
right into it. I used to buy like the fancy ones and I would fucking try the new ones. You know what I mean? It was fucking. I loved it.
Yeah, connoisseur. Shit.
I was like, oh, is this for Kenya? Aye.
Did you can your
And then
coffees for there? Fuck.
and I mean, I was going through to get my treatment one day and it was quite early. I think it was 10 o'clock in the morning. So I went to Costa in the town and got like got like a big fucking massive coffee. And I hadn't ate anything. I would just get something at the hospital, kind of like the W8 Smith, so I'll just get a sandwich or something when I'm there. And so I'm drinking this coffee on the bus, and it was like September or October. It was like my third or fourth treatment or something like that. And as soon as we left, like St Ninians, it was like, oh fuck, I don't feel good. I feel like hot. And it was like raining and shit. It wasn't like a hot day, and the windows in the bus were open and that. But I feel fucking obviously not realising that the coffee had done it.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking don't feel good at all, man. I'm sitting there taking off my jumper, I'm sitting sweating.
Fucking hell, man.
Fucking folk are looking at me and everything. And then by the time I got to Pleading, I was like, I need to get off this fucking bus, man. I can't be on this. But I was freaking out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was sitting like I was trying to phone folk. I don't know why I was doing that. You know,
Just
fucking
panicking
help
and
me.
wanting to do something. I mean, probably try and
Uh,
distract your mind for it and try and
I know,
focus
what
on
was I got
something
to say?
else.
You know what I mean? I'm on the bus, nothing to feel. Help me.
Aye, I know, mate.
Mm.
Don't know. I don't know what's going on.
So, but then, so I was, it was a double decker bus and I was up the top, like a wee boy. And then
In
I
the
came
front.
down. Nah, it was fun.
Yes, mate.
And then I came down. But then I was like, no, I'm not going to be stranded in plane either. I mean, no, I need to go on my treatment.
Yeah.
What the fuck's going to happen here? And then, so the bus had stopped. And then I was like, right, well, just sit down, you're all right. You know what I mean? You're fine, just stop being a wee fucking idiot. And then took another drink of my coffee. So I was like, maybe dehydrated or something. So obviously making it worse, just kept drinking it. And then ended up having a full argument with the driver because he was like, I was like, fucking right, mate, let me off the bus. And he was like, well, I just stopped there. Like, I'm not stopping again until basically the other side of the plane. I was like, no, just let me off the bus, mate. I didn't care. He was like, I can't just stop here. I was like, just fucking let me off the bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because for looking at me and all that, it was really, really embarrassing.
Uh-huh.
And then, so I got off the bus, and then I managed to sort of get my breath back, sort of calm down. And then I went and got some water for the shop in Plane, and then jumped on the bus as it was coming back round, and went and got my treatment. But then, even when I was pulling up to the hospital, it like happened again. Like, this is fucking awful. And I'd never really had like a panic attack or that before, but that's what was happening. And because I didn't know what, you know, never happened before, I was freaking out. And I thought I was having like a relapse because like the tingling and shit was like coming back very slightly, but it was coming back, and it's also I hadn't had that for months. And last time that happened, I was having a relapse. I started fucking started freaking out and all that. I think I had to come back the next day. I think they only wanted to give me the treatment because I was still like
a bit funky with the cough.
because I was still like breathing heavy, and I was still like I just wasn't right. You know what I mean? And I think they were just like, right, just go home, see if we've when you can next come back in. Just happened that I could then come back in the Wednesday because I used to go on Tuesday, and now I go on Wednesday, so that must have been when that started.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I no caffeine anymore, which is a bastard.
Shite, like, I mean, because that's cans of Coke and fucking everything. You know what I mean? So what do you drink these days? Just water and
I don't
juice?
know, I can have stuff like that, but I can have like sort of like trace amounts and whatever, but like
Uh-huh.
coffee, energy juice, fucking
Yeah.
shit, I can't have any of that.
No, fuck energy juice anyway, man. It's the devil, that shite. Like,
No,
you
I
should never
know,
go
but
fucking near it.
I used to love it, mate. I used to love a wee white monster, so
On your way to work in the morning, just kickstart your day, I suppose, wouldn't it? But,
I fucking have seven every morning, fucking can of white monster, mate.
fuck that, man. No
They wonder
chance.
him all there.
Even I've cut back on the coffees. Like, I used to fucking drink loads, man. I was probably about 7 or 8 cups a day. I mean, two
You're
sugars.
thinking on the you've had that.
I've no fucking got a glass of water, you cheeky bastard. What? I
No, right,
fucking
I put you
finished.
the coffee on.
No, that was my first one. I did have a coffee this morning when we first came on because
No, right,
I
aye.
only fucking jumped out of bed about 40 minutes before we jumped on air. So
Oh, aye,
had a
fucking
late
hell.
one last night,
You
man.
doing your big coffee?
I decided to watch Creed 3. I don't know if you've seen it. It was all right. It wasn't too bad. Like, it was
No,
just
I've not seen it, man.
like, have you seen any of the Creed movies?
No, mate. No,
No,
I've seen
the
all the
first.
Rockies.
No, well, it's basically
I've not
that,
seen the
mate.
Creeds.
But with Creed
Nah, I know.
as the main character, you know what I mean? It's very similar
Rockies not
story.
even in them anymore, though. I know he
No,
was.
no,
Was he not like
no.
training them or something at
I
one
think
point?
maybe in the first one or something.
Aye, well, I remember I might seen him in the adverts, and I was like, how the who's got to watch this?
Yeah.
But apparently, folk there. So,
Have you turned me up or something? I can hear myself coming back through there.
no, not touched it.
That's the first time I've heard it, but I can hear myself coming back through. Maybe I just spoke too loud.
I don't mind.
Um. So yeah, I started going for your treatment. You're under Sabri, and obviously just talked a little bit about like getting to the bus station and getting to the hospital so you can get your treatments. But how has it like impacted your life any other way? Like in the house, have you found any like independence issues? You got anything like there to help you out? Any like assistive devices or anything? Or
No, I've not got anything like that. I've got a council house. It's a ground floor, which is fucking annoying, mate.
yeah,
Because see these cunts that live upstairs, mate, I fucking hate them.
just
Uh,
partying all the time with that? Or
no, they're not partying all the time, but it's like I was convinced they were junkies for ages. But now that I've seen them, and I don't know. But they proper act like junkies. You know what I
right,
mean? Just
okay,
proper junkie behaviour. You know what I
uh
mean?
huh.
Fucking try and use my bins all the time and all that. It's
Oh
fucking just
mate, just fuck off. You know what I mean?
aye. They've got like fucking. They've got like a three-piece fucking suite in the back of the house and all that. It's like covered in like a big fucking tarp and all that. You know what I mean?
Oh mate,
Just make the place look horrible, mate.
no.
Uh, but I know I've got my bathroom is sort of it's just like a big open shower room with a toilet in it basically,
Right, okay. Walk-in
which
shower.
is I think I pretty much I it's just a big wet room basically, or like a wrap up version. It's not that good, but I know apart from that I've not got like the red cord or that I've not got
uh-huh.
I've not got that fucking big climbing frame thing that you see in disabled
Well,
toilets. I've not got one of them.
you told me a story the other day where, to be honest with you, I'm thinking about it afterwards. I was like, maybe he's needing one of them fucking red cords in the house just in case that kind of comes around again. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, Bill. I know I regret telling you that actually. I'm not really going to go into that again,
You
but
don't want it? Right, okay, fair
uh,
enough, fair enough.
But it's not really relevant to the MS. It was just me being an idiot. You know what I mean? So
Well, it probably was though, mate. You know what I mean? Because it was your body like handling the shit that you'd like been doing, and then got to that point and probably trying to flush it or whatever. I mean, if you don't want to talk about it again,
I just drank too much, mate. Just drank too much.
we
You know
can
what I
cut
mean?
that one out. That's
No
cool.
fault. You shouldn't drink whiskey till fucking 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever if you've got MS. Do you know what I mean?
I
If
suppose,
I
mate.
hadn't have done that, I would have been sound. You know what I mean?
It's a learning curve, though, isn't it? I mean, you're a young lad and
Aye, that's it.
you
Aye.
get hit with
Although that,
something like this. It's quite life changing, and you still want to enjoy
aye.
yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're feeling good at the time, then you're gonna think, "Oh, I'm sound, so I'll just crack on with the boys and I'll keep doing
Aye,
it."
well, that's it. And you know, that was during the winter, and I was saying to you the last time, like obviously the last winter there was a tougher time for me than when I was first diagnosed.
hmm
Uh, Sort of being here by myself all day. The World Cup was on, and I was loving that because I was, watched every single game basically,
Yeah.
and that was great. But that sort of took its toll on me, just being in the house all day, just watching the telly.
hmm
Because it was dark all the time. The weather was really shite in the winter.
Yeah, it was fucking cold and all
But
the
it took
rest
its
of it.
toll on me. I just developed a wee bit of like social anxiety that like
Uh-huh.
still sort of lingers a wee bit.
Right. Okay.
Like I can manage it now. Like I know, like if I eat before I go out, I feel okay. It usually doesn't come on. It's if I can sort of ready myself for. Uh, at one point, I know that there's a good chance I might start to panic or whatever. I know how to sort of take steps to prevent it, and then sort of how to calm myself down and shit now. But
Yeah.
back then, I had no idea
hmm
because I never really dealt with it. I had moments like everyone has moments of anxiety and nerves and like shit like that,
Yeah.
but I'd never, it's never been like an ongoing thing.
hmm
Um, so I'm to find something today this winter. I was getting out of the house.
So as you say there, you've like figured out ways of like managing it and dealing with it and like bringing yourself like back down to earth. Really, feel like your anxiety starts taking off and stuff. So what type of lifestyle changes was it that you implemented for after the diagnosis, and even now, are you still learning and thinking, oh, actually, I maybe need to change this up because that's not working too well, or
Uh, Aye, there's still shit happens now. Like where if I'm in a car for too long, or if I'm like, I'm on a train or whatever, I've sort of developed a wee bit claustrophobia.
hmm
I like to, you know, I don't know. I just like sort of being feel like I can move about and shit like that. Like, I don't
breathe?
like being.
Hmm
Aye. Lifetime changes for the MS. It's weird, man. It's perspective on pretty much everything's completely different now.
Aye.
Um, Shit that I enjoy doing now, I would never have enjoyed doing, like 3 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
Like where I live, I can see the castle from my house.
hmm
So sometimes if the weather's good, just to get myself out of the house, I'll just go like a wee walk up the castle or up the gown or whatever,
Right.
just by myself. And it's just just doing shit like that. I would never have fucking done that like
Few years ago, unless you were out
before.
with
Mhm.
out with the dog or something. You know what I mean, that'd probably been the only time you would have gone to walk around the
Well, that
garden
was
near the.
probably the last time I was up that, but it was when
Was
me and
it?
you were taking up there. I mean,
Uh-huh.
probably, mate.
Just
Aye.
go around the back walk.
I've no reason to go there.
You got the river at the back of you as well, man. There's a cracking walk down by the river, just along those new build houses around past the
Aye, it's not too
college and
bad,
stuff
mate.
like
Aye.
that. Like, but it
Aye,
goes
it's not too bad
quite
down there.
grand all the way around, eh? But yeah, like I say,
There's a better walk on the other side of the river, see the Colton side.
the
That's a
Cotton
far better
side.
walk. Aye, that's
Yeah,
a far better walk, mate.
I've seen that. How is it a far better walk? Like it's the same fucking thing, same path, same river, but on the opposite side.
Yeah, it's just a better walk. It's better.
There's what I did notice though when I walked along that way is there's like a wee fucking hut or something that somebody's built out, like a little seated area or
Aye, the
something.
wee pier bit. Aye,
Aye,
aye, yeah.
but it looks like it's
Mm-hmm.
like fucking randomly man-made. Like no council that's gone in there and done that. It looks like just a bunch of
No,
boys
no,
for the
aye.
court and have just gone and made it up. It looks fucking cool, like. But
I know. I don't know what the crack is there, but I used to smoke many joints down there.
I bet you, man, the little fucking hideout along that way, innit? So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a couple of decent
Aye,
walks around about you, man. That's one thing I miss about living in Stirling is all the fucking places that you could go and walk the dog or whatever. Even just the town and that.
aye,
It's
it's good
just
for that, mate.
a little bit busier than Alloy. You know what I mean, it's pretty quiet around there. I'm like
Yeah.
down
Aye.
by like near the glassworks, man, and it's silent, mate. Honestly, like I'm used to students running past the fucking flat naked and doing fucking mad bear runs and all the rest of it because it was just student accommodation
All
all
right,
around
aye.
where I was, eh? And was it
Well,
you
that's
that was
right.
saying
Aye, yeah.
you that was saying it was quite rough? Who was saying that? Oh no, I was speaking to one of my pals, Sam, yesterday. Oh, he came through with the dog. he was saying apparently it was getting quite rough around where he used to stay around that area, like near Tesco and that. I think there was flats. Somebody was shot through the door or something recently. A fucking there's been stabbings
That's
going
right.
on.
Aye, the like round near the Kevin Street bit. Aye.
Aye, apparently stabbings and all sorts going on. The fucking rap tap
Aye,
gangs and
aye,
stuff.
it's never been that wee bit's never been great. Like the flats, like Kevin
Aye, it's
Street,
always been a
sort of
bit
take
rough
you
there,
down.
eh?
Aye, so it's never been brilliant. I've never seen anything that bad, but like a few times I remember it being like taped off and all that, and I can remember that the guy got shot. I'm mind hearing about that just a few months ago, I think.
He says it wasn't that long ago. Like somebody just put a rifle through the fucking letterbox or something and shot the boy because he wouldn't open
Aye,
the
aye,
door or something. I was like, fuck's sake, man. But yeah, there
aye,
was usually a police presence around those flats weekly anyway. Yeah, I mean, but the
aye.
most of the noise came for the fucking students having parties and that all the time. But
Aye,
um,
that's it. But that's standard shit, innit?
so how did you go through these things mentally? Like, how did you process it? How did you approach it? Did you have a support network around you, friends, family? Were you offered any like
I had a
support
really good support
networks?
network, mate. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. My pals were good. My mum was obviously brilliant. My granda got involved quite a bit as well. Um, my ex missus was brilliant. Like we're not together anymore, and we're not on the best of terms. She seems to think I'm a bit of a prick for some reason, beyond me, like. But
No comment.
uh, don't know what she's talking about, like. But
Yeah, yeah.
she was brilliant. Uh, and if I was single at that time, I don't know if I would have got through it as I don't know if I would have got through it at all, mainly.
Mhm.
But so I need to, no, support network was good. Um, and it's still good. My pals are good with me in that.
Mhm.
It was annoying for a bit of years because I didn't want it to become like the thing I was known for and shit like
Yeah. Didn't want people treating you like
that.
fucking a piece of fragile glass rail. Yeah, I mean, walking around and
I
not
like
using
an
it
old
all the
man, or
time.
like
And
fucking, you know what I mean, like bringing your granddaughter to the pub or whatever. You know what I
uh-huh,
mean?
uh-huh.
Uh, they still do say to me, fucking, asking me if I'm all right and that, and they're just being pals. You know what I mean? It's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't say anything bad about that, but
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine it does get quite annoying after a couple of years. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Just treat me like you used to, boys. Just be fucking normal and
I
get
like
on.
if I've got something, I'll just tell you. Like I'm not shy in telling you. Like if I'm not feeling right or whatever, if I don't want to do something, I'll just tell you. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Just until that point, just try and treat me just the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, was there any support networks offered by the NHS or anything? Any kind of like I don't know, fucking like an MS group or anything like that that you could go to? Anything
Yeah,
to like?
there's a bunch of like forums and that, and like a bit like sort of Reddit for like folk who have got MS, sort of. You know what I mean? The MS Society is a good one. I think the MS Trust is another one. There's another thing I just joined a couple last week or something. It's called Shift MS, and it's a bit like it's a bit like that Threads. I had a look at that yesterday, and it's very similar to that.
Oh, you've not downloaded that, have you, mate?
I had a wee
Jesus.
look at it, but then it was asking all the information it was asking
I
for. I was like, fuck that.
I see all the personal information it's asking you for once your credit score and everything, man. As soon as I
Hey,
seen that,
so
I was like, fuck off. I struggle to give that to the bank so I can get a mortgage. Never mind giving it to you,
I,
cunts. Like, the fuck is that about? You know what I mean?
I don't know what they're needing that for, but no, but just like the layout of it all and shit like that, it's very, very similar to that. And that's for people who have MS, and that's excuse me, very rude. Uh, I wish I joined that a lot sooner.
Yeah.
Uh,
How long's that app been going for? Do you know?
those, hmm?
How long's the app been going for? Do you know? Has it been running for quite a while, I
Yeah, a
suppose?
few
Or...
years, I think. A few years,
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure exactly, but I was seeing. I think it was one of like the moderators or the administrators or whatever on it was leaving after, and they said they'd been doing it for like 8 years or something. So it's been going a while. Um, I'd imagine about 10 years because that was when like everything started getting popular. You know what I mean, like Instagram and Twitter, and that was when things started getting really, really popular
Yeah,
about
yeah.
10 years ago. So probably about the same. Probably jumped on shit like that. But that's a really good one. That's really helpful. I wish I joined that sooner because as I said before about like googling symptoms and all that, I don't want to fill my head with too much fucking shit,
Yeah.
which I'm generally quite good for. But there was after a couple of weeks, and started to settle in, and like things go back to normal, and I was getting used to just I was able to start taking the dogs for walks and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. Having time to think and all that, I was started thinking like I've basically got like sort of brain damage, and like that's not good, And so like, what else can that lead to? And started getting in my head like, what's the chances of me getting dementia? What's the chances of me getting fucking, developing into something else? What's the like, how soon is the MS going to progress?
Yeah.
Shit like that, and
You just start snowballing with panics and worries, don't you? And you
aye,
start reading
exactly,
into
mate. You know
things.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Aye, and it's just I'm generally quite good at not doing shit like that, but
Yeah.
I did have like a sort of weekend where I was like, oh fuck, this probably won't end very well.
Ah,
But
put you down in the
I'm
dumps
still I'm
and
not
all the
even
rest of
dirty
it.
yet. You know what I mean?
I know, mate. I know. So you
So
just gotta try and positive mindset and just keep pushing through and go right. I'm doing these and doing the right things. You know what I mean, I've changed my diet up and living the lifestyle that I need to be able to mitigate my
exactly,
symptoms
mate.
as
Yeah,
much as I can, mate. And then just try and fucking positively keep pushing it with that, I suppose, isn't it? So, um,
it's that, mate.
so what type of things get covered? Do you ask people things, or is it like you say, kind of like Reddit? Is it like a topic thread, and then you can jump into there
You
and
can
go
search
through
for
it?
topics, you can search for like keywords, you can
Uh
search
huh.
for stuff like that, and it's I just do that. I don't really ask any questions. I just find somebody else that's asked about it and then look for the answers and shit.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Have you had anybody reach out
um,
to you through it, or asking for your shared
I've
experiences
had
and things?
one or two people say like I have like a friend or a relative or whatever who thinks they might have MS, and they'll like ask me questions and shit, and I'm like, well, you could just tell them to message me. I still don't know that much about MS really.
Yeah.
It's just a wee bit embarrassing because folk always ask me shit, and I'm like, I've not heard of that.
No, got a Scooby Doo.
Exactly.
Well, like you say,
So,
there's multiple types, isn't there? So if it's not really related to the
aye,
thing that
exactly,
you've been
yeah.
diagnosed with, then you're not really gonna know much about it. And like you say, if you're not
Aye,
deep
that's the one I
into,
focus on. You know what I mean?
yeah, don't want to deep
Know quite
dive
a bit
into the
about like
rest.
relapse and remitting
Hmm.
just through experience, but even like I've not really studied it or that. You know what I mean? So I don't.
Yeah. So
I'll just cross that bridge when I come to it. You know what I mean?
that's it, man. That's it. So when you get your treatments, obviously, just going back to that a little bit, you sitting in, you're getting the IV drip into your arm and getting the Sabri coming through that. So I've noticed on Instagram you were doing like your ask me anything style things, like so. And was that just to raise a little bit of awareness at the start of it and just let people kind
Yeah,
of ask questions about MS and you can kind of answer it and
a little bit, but I think I started doing that just so that when I bumped into people, they wouldn't ask me loads of questions. Where I was like,
right,
if
okay,
because I started doing that on my old Instagram, and then I made a new one because I think I got a new phone and I couldn't mind my password or some fucking thing.
right, okay,
So I was like, I had it like highlighted and saved in my stories, like on my page and all that shit. So it
yeah,
was always just there, and it was more to just stop me having the same conversation every week or every 2 days or whatever. Just
hmm,
be bumping into folk at Tesco and having to tell all of them the exact same shit I told somebody else that I've not seen for years. You know what I mean? But I was enjoying Ask Me Anything when it was about MS, but new folk ask me just the most ridiculous shit ever. You know what I mean? Asking me what I get for a meal deal and all that. So
that's what you want. You know what I mean? It's like
uh,
you've probably reached the point now
I
where
can,
the people are joining it not normalised. You know what I mean? But are more aware of what's going on and just treating you like a normal person rather than focusing on the condition that you've got. You know what I mean? But I'll jump in and start asking you your shoe size and shit, just random fucking. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
What type?
Um,
How many millimeters you got on your razor today to take that beard down a little bit? Because it's getting like the Wild West. That don't think I've ever seen you
I
with
did
your
think
beard
that's
like
doing
this.
it funny.
Since the other day, that's what I was thinking when I was looking at it. I was like, it looks a wee bit whiter there now
Nah.
than what it did the other day. Like,
I know, it was a wee bit of shit the other day, aye.
uh-huh.
Uh,
So is there anything more that you'd want to do with that? Obviously, like raising awareness about MS
I,
and
I'm still trying to figure out how and what I want to do, because I'm not
Mhm.
really good with shit like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like social media and that in general, I'm not really that good at, and like, I see a lot of people, I follow a lot of like MS accounts, and some of them are like organisations, some of them are just people who have MS. They
yeah.
do a lot of good stuff, and I wish I could do it, but I don't know, I'm just not really that type of person, you know what I
So
mean?
what type of
And
things do they do that kind of inspire you to have a look at it and do it?
uh, they just, not like, sort of blogging and stuff like that, just sort of, I don't know. Well, first of all, they seem to know a lot more about it than I do.
Mhm.
Uh, they've obviously taken it a lot more sort of seriously than me in terms of looking into it and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But I just don't want to do that because I just don't really want to know all the sort of negative shit that could come or will come. I'm just trying to focus, like as I said, like a wee bit at a time. Um, but I do want to do something. I need to have a think what it is I want to do because like when I first got diagnosed, I used to watch a lot of shit on YouTube, just YouTube multiple sclerosis, and there was a lot of really good stuff. There was a woman from Scotland that used to do like a lot of good stuff. I can't remember her name. But she used to do a lot of good stuff on it. She's got MS obviously, and she used to a lot of her stuff was like helpful stuff like that. It's it's just for things like tips that doctors can't give you. Because obviously doctors can tell you all the science and all that shit, but like they don't live it, so that's a
Yeah,
totally
yeah,
different
yeah.
thing. They don't have the experience and all that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So sort of that side, it I want to sort of do something with that because I feel like a duty, but just I feel like if it could help anybody, it would be it'd be worth doing it.
How can you turn something negative into something positive, really, and it like kind of that
Yeah,
kind of
why
look towards it?
exactly?
You know
Right.
what I mean? How can you make more people aware and understanding? And obviously, because there's probably a ton of like you say misconceptions where you like, I just treat me like a normal person, where you probably get
Yeah, yeah.
people were saying to me the other day, you obviously you can sit in like the disabled bit on the bus or in the train or whatever, and you get people fucking staring at you, thinking, "What's he doing sitting there?" You know what I mean? But they've really
Yeah,
got no
exactly, mate.
fucking
Aye,
clue
but
what's
there's
going on
obviously no idea.
after have a
And I'm not
move
going to
and
get into a
stuff.
big argument, and that's not their fucking business, you know what I
No,
mean?
yeah,
So,
exactly. None of their business at all, and you don't need to
aye,
fucking justify it to anybody. Yeah, you can just sit there for as long as you
exactly,
like.
mate. Aye, but
And I know what you're like, mate. You probably stand up and fucking move half the time. If somebody else comes on and they're looking at you, going, "Why is he there?" You're like, "Ah, you're sort of a pregnant woman or whatever it is." You know what I mean, you'll probably stand up and
I
move
know if
and.
there's somebody that needs it more than me, aye, 100%, mate. Yeah.
Mhm. But
An old woman or a
um,
pregnant woman, well, aye.
just yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, I mean, I can always imagine you'd get up and move like so.
Yeah,
Have you,
man.
have you had any like the misconceptions and stuff coming through on those like ask me anything, people asked anything straight where you just like it's nothing like that, mate.
Eh,
Like you're nowhere near it. Like
no, I've never, no, none that I can think of, no. I've had a few questions where folk have, well, a lot of people assume that I'm, you know, I take a handful of pills every day and I've got like a pill schedule and all this. And it's
yeah,
not like that at all. I don't take
uh huh,
any pills. The only thing I actually take is well, there actually. Take one of these every morning, a vitamin
yeah,
D3,
mm-hmm.
and that's just for because MS. They don't know what causes it, but it's one of the big links is a lack of vitamin D,
Right, okay,
which I forgot to mention the other day. Actually, I think Scotland is the capital in the world for people having MS.
yeah, yeah, it is, mate, because of the lack of vitamin D. Because obviously there's not enough fucking sun all year round. You know what I
Not
mean? They've
enough
had
sun, smoking, bad diet, shit
yeah,
like that. All the heavy links
uh,
are like the
yeah, yeah.
notorious Scottish things. I
It's
mean,
fucking
so
wild, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah,
aye,
I've had friends whose family members have been diagnosed with MS, and obviously I've had a couple that family members have passed away as well. They've been at more of the later stages, like yeah, I mean, but it's been well on like into the life. I mean, they probably know live like the best, like a comfortable life, and maybe mobility wise and things like that. Because like you say, there is different stages to it as well. But yeah, but and I know people that have gone through it and experienced it, but I'm the same, mate. It was one of those things that I never really looked into too much. We didn't really understand it that much. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
no real
um,
reason to unless you know somebody close to you that's got it. Well, there's no real reason to. You know what I
no,
mean? So.
not at all. So I asked you the other day, but obviously you said there wasn't really any kind of like clinical trials or any like research studies or anything that you've been asked to have a look at or go on to do with multiple sclerosis.
I
You know what I
know.
mean?
It was
But
kind of it was when I moved in here. It was the carpet fitter.
mhm.
I was talking to him. Uh, I was talking to him, and the MS came up, and he was like, "Oh, fucking, I saw this thing the other day, but I think it was the US military or the US government that did a study, and they reckon it's a lot more linked to is it Epstein Barr, to some sort of I don't know, some sort of illness or something.
Right. Okay.
That's sort of like the cold or whatever, or
Hmm.
something to do with your throat, maybe I don't know. But they reckon it's a lot more linked with that than they let on. And I remember at the like everybody when COVID started, everybody was like, "Oh, I didn't feel well. I'm sure I've had COVID, but I'm not needing the jag and all that." All they fucking idiots.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a story like that, thinking they had COVID when they never. But I remember not. I remember having something that wasn't quite right, And I don't think it was COVID. I don't think I've ever had COVID. I've never
Mm-hmm.
tested positive for it, but I've only took about 3 tests in my life. And I've had about
Mm-hmm.
7 of the Jags because I'm like so like immunely compromised or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had to get like 2 Jags and then a bunch of boosters and all that. So
Yeah.
I've never had COVID, but I did have something. Seeing like the January before
Mm-hmm.
we went into lockdown shit, there was something not right with me.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
And you
so I
feel
might have had
better
the
from
Epstein
that?
bad, but
Yeah.
I had symptoms of MS going back to when I was like 16, 17. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Just minor ones that you probably weren't picking up on and didn't really realise what it was at that point, though, eh? You
aye,
said something the
like
other day about your eye, wasn't it?
just got to say that. I've just got to say that, mate. Aye, because I forgot. Like when we were working together, I don't remember. I don't remember if it was before you came or I don't remember talking to you. I only remember talking to Stevie about it. But it was my right eye. It was strange. I could see like colours and shadows, but I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't see like textures and shit like that. It was weird. It was like somebody got like a bit of cling film and was like just holding it like an inch in front of my eye. You know what I mean? So I could see like light and stuff. But if I did that, I was basically blind. It was really weird. But that only went on for about 6 weeks and I went away, which lines up with like my first uh, like the leg thing when that came. That lasted for about 6 weeks and I went away. You know what I mean? So it obviously lines up.
So yeah, it was
So
the early signs of it all there, wasn't it? So,
yeah.
um,
Mhm.
what 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 would you say if you found somebody out? Well, if somebody came to you and says I've been recently diagnosed, what kind of advice or anything do you think you would give them?
Um, just to don't overthink it. I know that sounds quite stupid and that, but just take things one day at a time. Just obviously it'll turn your world upside down getting told that you've got MS, but
Yeah.
that's just sort of my attitude anyway. It's just don't try not to overthink it. Just take it one little step at a time. Just
Mm-hmm.
sort of recover and sort of put the pieces back together at your own sort of pace.
Yeah.
Don't try and fucking stress yourself out,
Mm-hmm.
uh, about it too much, which is obviously. But every case in MS is different, so a lot of folk will be listening and think that's quite easy for me to say, and it might be true, but uh, I just listen to the doctors obviously because they've studied this for years, so they obviously know. But there is loads of support out
Yeah.
there. I'm always free if anybody wants to get in touch with me about it. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But as I said, the MS Society, uh, the Shift MS thing, there's loads of stuff out there that is
Yeah.
very, very good. Even just go on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, YouTube or Instagram, any sort of social media, and just search for stuff a wee bit. You'd be surprised how much like information is actually out there
Mm-hmm.
for people like myself or people, uh, just with MS who do a lot of really good shit, making people aware what it's actually like.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could easily go on and do something with this. You know what I mean? Like, in
I
a
do want to. I just need to figure out what it is I want
what
to
it
do.
is, yeah, like whatever you feel comfortable with. You, I mean, probably
Yeah.
maybe we Facebook lives or whatever it is to start off with, just to try and I mean, try and
Mhm.
post it on one of those forum things or in that app that you were talking about, and just say, look,
Yeah.
guys, we're gonna do this, try and raise a bit of awareness. It could probably even be to the point where you could start like adding people to the call that could then talk about it, or you could even reach out to people that are at other stages of multiple sclerosis and invite them to come and talk to you or something
Yeah.
like maybe
Mhm.
a setting like this. You know what I mean? But no, man, like if you need any help with setting anything up with that, give me a shout because it really is a message I think that needs to be spoken about, especially like you say, Scotland's probably
Aye,
one
I
of
think so, mate. Yeah.
the highest places where
Mhm.
you're getting diagnosed with it, and
Yeah.
it's just not talked about enough. Nobody really knows enough
It's
about
a
it,
lot
and
more common than I thought it was. I thought it was just like an old
mm-hmm.
woman disease and that was
No,
it. But I think it's something like one in, can't remember the exact number, so I wouldn't try and, I'll not embarrass myself, but it's a lot more common than you would think.
yeah, not mate. Right, so I think that's an hour and 20 minutes there, so we can wrap this up if you want. How are you feeling after all that? Like, does it take it out of you to do these kind of things, or
No, I
are you
feel, but as I
enjoying
say,
them?
I feel quite good today.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I've got my fucking lemon and ginger tea, and that sets me up in the mornings. So
Boom.
that's another thing. If you go to MS, herbal tea, fucking brilliant,
Right. Okay.
magic,
Just
magic.
gives you a wee boost, like, or
Right, and it's like natural. Just it's not as intense a boost as like tea or coffee, but it's like a cleaner boost. You know what I mean?
uh huh. Yeah. So what's your plans for the rest of the day then?
I need to go down to my mum's and walk the dog
Right.
at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I'll need to do that quite soon, I think.
Perfect.
And that's about that, really.
I'm about to
Day.
bounce out and take the dog to the uni. I think and go for a walk around there for a little bit. No, been in a wee
Yeah,
while. Mm-hmm.
not bad.
So
You want to meet up then? We take the two of them
where are you gone? Was you more still?
and Colton.
Aye. Mm-hmm. I could come and pick you up, like, but obviously you need to bang the fucking dog in the car.
If that's all right, then,
Right, sound.
you
Got
meet
my
in
pal.
Cosby Heath or something if you want. Meet.
Yeah, you're alright to walk up to the uni and then cut about there, don't know, eh?
Aye, that's fine. Aye.
Right, sound. Got my pal Sam with that puppy as well. I think he's planning on coming along, so I'll message him and say that I'll grabbing you first, and I'll get him there at about fucking hell, about
It's
one
a
o'clock,
party
1 o'clock or
soon.
something. Boom, fucking taking off now, mate. So
Aye,
yeah,
we go,
let me gather my shit up and fucking get ready. I'll ping you a message and let you know when I'm leaving. How long will it take you to get to your
and all
mum's?
of it. 20 minutes, someone. I'll just
Right,
walk around
sound.
them, take 20 minutes.
Are you ready to just fucking shoot off and leave there now? Then yeah.
I'm just going to. I'm basically ready to go now.
Right, sound. No worries. Right, mate. Cheers for fucking jumping back on again. Again, fucking. Sorry, I never pressed fucking record on the
Aye.
that the other day. Absolute fucking doofus. Making you talk about it all again, like. But yeah, I
No,
mean,
no, mate.
fucking all the best with it and all the rest of it. Yeah, I mean, I hope you can get your message
Thank
out
you.
there. I hope you can fucking try and get something
Aye,
set
mate.
up and speak to
I'm
people.
going to have a think about what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do something. We'll see.
Damn it, mate. Right. Cheers, man. Adios.
Right, see you later, bud.